Vinnie Tortorich in studio. Good timing, perfect, because I want to talk French fries with you and beyond. First thing, we got home from San Diego way. I guess we pulled in here about 1:30 or so last night. Quite a contrast.
Wasn't that bad, honestly, considering it took us, 90 minutes to get back from Solana Beach?
No, we were lied to. We were told it was 85 miles, but it was 113 or something like that. So it took a little longer.
I slept.
I heard this RV was slightly nicer than the one we took to Vegas.
Very nice. Brian slept the entire time. Dawson in rare form.
Oh.
Rare form.
Not rare. What, I wasn't drinking?
He was lit, but he was animated.
That's rare?
I will say that.
We call it laminated.
Yeah, there's something. He was laminated big time, and I think it was obviously the booze was a big factor, but the tour bus, I think Dawson's inner rock and roll was coming out.
It was nice.
Did you fuck it up?
Oh, I fucked it in.
Oh,
I fucked
okay.
it down. I fucked it all over the place.
He poured in here a little while ago from an Uber. He didn't even drive in.
Yeah, well, when he cracked his Coors Light as we were getting off the freeway, I said, Dawson, I'm not Colonel Buzzkill here, but I said, Dawson, if I'm telling you not to drive home, you better listen. So we had a fun trip. We had a great time. The crowds were awesome. Place was sold out. It was just Adam Ray was great. But the French fries, yes.
Oh, no, I was just we're giving this coach its due. This mode of transportation, it really was first class. You remember you used to tell a story about a comedian who was a weird expert in
Geechee guy.
The rise.
Geechee guy.
Right? Yeah, he
Always.
was the rise.
Yeah.
The
I don't need that
rides.
many clues. There's no comedian experts.
It's a good point. Turns out my brother is a weird expert in coaches and those kind of giant, transportation. Because I was texting him a picture. He's like, or we saw it on Instagram. And he texted me, "Is that a Provost?" I'm like, "How the fuck am I supposed to know?"
Prevost.
Prevost.
Nice.
That was it.
Yeah.
And then the owner Nick walks in. He's like, "Yeah, that's a Prevost." And then it was as though Siri was dictating what Nick was saying to us. Because my brother's texting me. He's like, "That's a $750,000 ride." And Nick's like, "Yeah, I think it runs about $750K."
He's got something in his ear.
My brother's like, "Oh, it's supposed to go about 1 million miles." And Nick's like, "Yeah, I think it's supposed to get about 1 million miles."
Brian, those things can go $2 million if you really trick them. I'm
Miles.
not kidding. No, I'm
No,
talking about
dollars.
money.
Yeah, this one is.
It was first class.
You can trick them.
I want to thank Specialty Coaches and Nick, our driver, and Max Zapata for setting that whole thing up because it was great, Brian. Slept away. Dawson on the way home. Great show. The show's going to air on Monday. It was a really funny show.
You guys had a much more glamorous night than I did. Thank you very much.
I rolled back to Malibu, got home about 2:30. Went to bed about 3:15, and thank God Mike August had arranged some press at 6:35.
Oh my God!
For Chicago.
Sure.
So I went to bed at about 3:15, and the alarm went off about 6:20, and had to go call into a couple of radio stations.
I don't say this often, but I truly do question your friendship. I think it's a little one way.
I didn't even know where I was when that alarm went off, but nailed the interview. Went back to bed.
As far as you know.
Yeah.
Slept another 2 hours, but I am
Blame the
feeling
Jews
it
for the
today.
world's problems.
And click.
Yes. Yeah.
And cut to commercial.
Yesterday was a bunch of podcasts and then a podcast on the bus and then the 2 live shows in the faraway place. But at the faraway place, and Vinny, I don't know if you've running into this, but I've talked about it on the show quite a few times in the name of the low-carb diet. Brian ordered the burger, went bunless, got the salad backstage at the club. Announced it was very good.
It was good.
Had him in the top 3, I think, in green room food.
I said top third. As green room food goes, all the ones we've had over the years, that's just easily in the top third.
Yeah, but you've only been to 12.
That's true. Oh, yeah,
So-
I guess we're supposed to say 6, 1
You've been to 9 green rooms. I did the math for you. So I then ordered the bunless burger myself, and then I do what I always do. No fries. No fries, but it's not achievable. It's literally not achievable. Now, it's a very sad testimonial I had it with the other Vinnie approved cocktail, the soda water, the vodka, and the lemon. Can't do it. They can't do the lemon. They do the lime. It's weird. But I always announce no fries, and I'll do it 3 times now because I know what's coming.
That's right.
And
3 times, fool.
burger patty shows up just as advertised, minus the bun. Big basket of what Mike August announced, fries that were much better in In-N-Out.
Oh.
Love the fries. Now, I always
Well, that's not
have
too
to
much.
have the one fry because I believe it's an offering.
You see, I can't do the one fry.
At this
if I do
point.
the one fry, I'm all in.
You're in. Pot committed.
But, Brian, I want you to pay attention because I'm going to show you how to really shit on a point.
Let's hear it,
I
buddy.
can't wait.
I'm in Atlanta yesterday.
I'm always here to
Airport.
learn.
I walk into TGI Fridays, and I said, I want 2 burgers, cheese, tomato slice on each, pickles on the side, no bun. And the girl said to me, I'm guessing you don't want fries with that, right?
This is what I started.
She got a $10 tip.
Wow. Don't hold back, buddy.
I got into this because I said to Brian, I said, we were lamenting my inability to not receive fries.
I watched this unfold in real time. It was astounding.
And I said, furthermore, all right, it's enough that I just say I don't want fries 3 times. I get fries. Fine. But when you see the bunless burger traveling on the plate next to the basket of fries, it's at that point
What
you
are the
must
chances?
stop, right?
Yes.
Yeah, what are the chances? Right. But there's no math done. And then, Brian and I were speculating. This is California. This is San Diego. It's a beach community. Pretty fit crowd in there. Did not see a lot of heavyweights in that place.
Indeed.
Seemed like a full 35 to 40% of people that may be ordering burgers in that place. We're not in Wisconsin. Might be going the bunless, fryless route.
Yeah, I could see that.
Why has that not made it onto their radar?
Yeah. Like, what are the chances that you're a bunless guy, but you I love fries?
Right.
I mean, maybe you have a gluten allergy, but is that the only scenario?
I do not know.
Then you ask for a gluten-free bun.
All I know is it's not possible
Not for you.
for me to do this. It's unachievable.
It was crazy.
But Mike August is always there to mop
Yes.
it up because he'll eat all the fries.
Were there any words exchanged with whoever brought you the plate?
It's always the same
some snide
thing.
remarks.
It's always, this is what they handed me.
And they kick it down the road, right?
I didn't do it.
Right.
Go the kitchen. Go figure it out.
The thing, I'm
Yes.
sorry, Brian. The thing I'm seeing in my community, I live in a pretty sane place now, and they don't want to bring the plate out with just a couple of burgers on it. So when you say no fries, they'll say, would you like a salad?
Fill that plate.
And I'll say, no salad. Because every time I try to do salad on the plate, they're going to put seed oil on it, and then that's going to meander them. So it's no salad. No, and then I'll say, listen, hear me out. I know it's going to look weird.
Yeah.
I want it to look weird.
Yeah.
You have to say that.
I think we have to start doing what moms did in the 50s, is pinning a note to their young child
Oh,
when they
sure.
went to school.
A bracelet.
Make sure he
Yeah.
has his mittens
Yeah,
with him or something. Like, we literally physically
Your
need
blood
to
type.
label.
Yeah.
People need to be fucking labeled
You're right.
because it's not goddamn achievable.
And
But
Brian,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I know you were kidding. That's how my parents were notified that I had hearing loss in
HIV,
my right ear.
herpes.
Yeah,
Oh.
and HIV. Because they pinned it to my jacket. They
Yeah.
said, your child has hearing loss in her right ear.
Oh,
Well,
I didn't know
That
that at
wasn't
all.
worth a phone call.
I talked to
Good
an
here.
orthopedic surgeon a week and a half ago, and he's like, hey, man, when I remove a limb, the Sharpie comes out.
Yes, right.
It sounds pretty old school to get a Sharpie and write on someone's
No
calf.
problem.
This one's going, but certain shit just works.
Yes.
And I think we need to get back to a bygone era where we're slapping Post-its on people's foreheads.
My
No
solu-
fries in Spanish.
My
Yes.
solution, by the way, is now bubbling to the top. I know this seems extreme, but we're in an arms race. Like, this is an unwinnable war. I'm telling you, Vinny, you do this whenever you're not ordering whatever. You want to hold the whatever. Tell them you're allergic. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm allergic to fries. I'm actually...
I thought I taught you that trick.
No, I've been saying this on the show. I think Adam has a philosophical resistance to, claiming an allergy. But it's an arms race.
I don't want him to think I'm weak.
I know,
Brian.
but what's the alternative? Getting
You're right.
bombarded with fries?
I think there may be another component here, which is every single person in that kitchen speaks Spanish primarily. So there's a little language thing, but culturally, I've never met a no-carb person from Mexico. They're all down.
Doesn't
so
exist.
they are literally thinking,
What would you
who's
eat?
saying no to fries?
So you just need to have her write no papas fritas and underline it.
That's right. All right, Vinny, we should all hail Vinny because I saw a football video that he tweeted out. Somebody tweeted out, actually.
Yeah, my nephew, Mikey Tortorich, who's a journalist, and he had been looking at the still photo on the wall in my old bedroom back home for 40 years. And being a journalist, he went, there must be a video of this because they called it the upset of the century. LSU was number 6. They had already gotten an Orange Bowl bid.
What year? Was this 80?
82.
82, yes.
They had gotten an Orange Bowl bid. We had a horrible season. We went into LSU Stadium with 3 wins.
Your team was the...
Tulane Green Wave. And,
Tulane, that's right.
So we played them the last game. It was one of the big rivalries.
Rivalry game.
Yeah, big rivalry game.
Can't sleep on that.
And we had beaten them the year before in the Superdome, 48-7.
Damn.
It was the last 2 times I played them. The last 2 teams where Tulane beat LSU, and they were saying there's no way this. I think the point spread was like 100. They were making jokes about the point spread. We went into Tiger Stadium, Death Valley as they call it, because you can't hear yourself think in that stadium, in front of 87,000 because that was capacity back then. Now I think it's 105,000. And we kicked their ass, 31-28. And you could hear a pin drop, except for the scene.
Wow.
You're getting
There's
ready.
video, Vinny. That's you, Vinny, with the porn mustache, carrying your... Is that the head coach, defensive coordinator?
That's head coach Vince Gibson, who was fired right after the game because they said, how can you go, win 3 games the whole season and then beat LSU?
Look at Vinny.
We got Vinny. The coach literally on his shoulder pads. Number 57.
Yeah.
Celebrating. Unmasked, by the way, shouting.
With a 21-inch neck.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was your side? Now, were you playing middle or outside backer then? What position were you playing?
I was a middle backer. I was too short for outside backer. Guys my size don't get recruited anymore.
What was your dimensions back then? Because you seem very slight. Not slight, but a little wiry.
Lean.
When in that game, my neck was about 21 inches. My biceps were in the neighborhood of 19 inches. Chest, I was in the 50s, 54-inch chest. I was a 400-pound bencher. Never took a roid in my life.
How much did you weigh?
I weighed 225, and my waist was no bigger than it is right now.
Wow.
I'm one of those guys that I walk in the weight room and I can put on weight back then. And here's the crazy thing. I'm testosterone challenged ever since I had cancer 14 years ago. Every time they measure my testosterone, it's around 200. I can still put muscle. People go, if you don't have enough testosterone, you can't put. I can still put muscle on with that kind of testosterone.
You didn't know anything about the NSNG stuff back then, obviously.
No, but
what were you doing?
Here's the crazy thing. When I was playing ball, they fed us training table. We had steak and eggs for breakfast. We had steak and eggs for lunch. Anything you wanted. Steak for dinner. Anything. We had a soft serve machine. Anything the football players want, they get.
Did you have pasta feeds, like a carbo loading or whatever back then?
No, that wasn't a thing back then.
Okay.
It was all about meat, eggs, bacon. There was bread. They had guys. The O-line would just get stacks of white bread after dinner, peanut butter and jelly, and just keep eating because those guys are like sumo wrestlers, right? They don't care what their weight looks like. But here's the crazy thing. I left the team in the 3rd season because of when Coach English came in. There was a lot of politics. That's when Bubby Brister left and went to a different school.
Bubby? Yeah.
A bunch of us left the team because he was trying to get rid of all the leaders of the team.
Obviously.
Right? They wanted to bring their own
new regime.
and they were trying to get us hurt. I can tell you stories about them trying to get us hurt.
Jesus.
Trying to get your own teammates to hurt you to get you out. Anyway, left the team, stayed at Tulane to get my degree, got hired on as an assistant strength coach for the school, even as an undergrad.
For the football program or the athletic department?
Football, I worked with the track team. I worked with the swim team. I did dry land with swim team. I did it all. That's where I got my start. And I was having lunch one day at Camellia Grill with this girl named Janie. And I just happened to mention to her, I said, Janie, my dryer must be, shrinking up my Levi's because I can't button them anymore. And she just kind of smirked into her milkshake, and she goes, "Oh, sweetie, you're getting fat." And I did one of these. I went, "Fat, look at these guns." Because I was still lifting weights. I was still doing everything. What I wasn't doing anymore was eating on a training table. I was eating ramen noodles. I was eating pasta with oil on it. It was all I could afford. As soon as I did that, I started putting a gut on. That was the beginning of me figuring out how people get fat.
Yeah, so you went from the protein, which is not well, two things. When I was coming up, A, it was considered in my family meat is murder, like meat is bad, and then B, it was a lot more expensive than the pasta. So they went, well, one thing's bad and expensive.
Meat's murder on your wallet.
Let's just go over to shift it over to the pasta. And again, there was so many good vibes. It's not that undifferent than today's times. There were so many good vibes grafted onto everything that you couldn't really tell where the science ended and the good vibes began.
Pretty sure the science ended at apple juice in your cereal.
Yes, in my granola with plenty of brown sugar, which was good for you. But not white sugar. So we were at we want to talk about meat substitutes, and it struck me I didn't want to bum out Adam Ray backstage at Solana Beach, but he did order a veggie burger.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
And there was a part of me that thought about intervening, thinking about Vinnie and everything, but I thought, let him eat his veggie burger. But what about this? I know this is something you want to get into, this fake meat industry, the substitute. Now, the veggie burger, not necessarily a fake meat, but a substitution for a beef burger.
The veggie burger is nothing but a fake meat. It's an abomination. I started going down about a year and a half ago, this wormhole of Beyond Meat and Impossible Burger. And I just started doing some light Googling and figuring out that even Tyson Foods and all these meat companies are dropping billions into this.
Is this, just let me jump in, is it sort of tantamount? I know the guy runs Ford, and Ford made a pretty strong push to electric vehicles over the last 2-5 years. They know which way the wind is blowing.
See where the trends are going.
And they also know that you can definitely get some nice government subsidies if the administration is looking for a fleet that is 50% electric by 2035. Then Ford will take their money.
Sure. In addition, I'll say just from watching Christie work, I know that like a big company like Tyson or Ford or what have you, if they see like a jump up of 12%, that's not dominating the industry, but it's like, oh, we need to prepare for this. And maybe it's the next big thing, maybe it's not, but we need to invest some money in this sector.
Right. So maybe Tyson is kind of doing what Ford is doing.
Ford is the best example because they make the number one car in the world. They make the F-150, and they went right at the F-150 and said, hey, electric.
Full electric.
Yeah. So when you do that with the F-150, that means, hey, it's here to stay. So I started seeing this, and I see, the guy that runs Microsoft and all these, they're dropping billions of their own money into this. And I went, okay, there's something here. So I just started going down these rabbit holes, and it is not pretty what's going on with, so I'm doing a whole documentary. I promised it would be out by the end of this year. I can't do that. It's going to be up for pre-sale by the end of this year. And it's going to be in January when we're actually up and it's going to be out there. But what I found, I even tried to bring the vegans to the table, not just any vegans. I went to Walter Willett at Harvard, who's behind this 1,000%. He's part of everything that's going on. Eat Lancet. He's behind, years ago when I would come in here and talk about the WHO, you guys would look at me and go, WHO. Now everybody knows.
Right.
Now everybody knows because of COVID. You know, when I would mention all of these organizations, you guys are like, "Yeah, go on, Vinny, jerk off and get out of here." Mm-hmm. Now we know that these.
To be fair, I'd say get out of here and then jerk off.
Please
I
do
never
it in
said
the
jerk
reverse
off
order.
and then get out of
There
here.
aren't ladies
Yes.
present.
Yes, in Adam's defense, he did. But now we see that, you know, all of these things are in cahoots.
Right.
with
We
each
learned
other.
anything about COVID, it's the WHO is flawed at best. I'm being kind.
That would be nice.
I'm being kind. So
I went out to all these vegan doctors. I went to Willard. I went to Gregor, who has a big deal. I went to all the top guys, and they all had great excuses as to why they couldn't be in my movie. I was just looking for a real answer, and I couldn't get any of the top vegan guys to show up. I didn't want to do another What the Health or Game Changers where they just take one side. I was trying to show both sides.
well, what is the problem as you see it with the substitute meats?
First off, it's an engineered food. So you end up with
Frankenfood.
It's a frankenfood. You end up with the equivalent of a seed oil. When you think about it, I'm going to use the seed oil as an example. If you have a sunflower seed and you ate it, great, it's fine. If you had any kind of seed, you know, safflower seeds or whatever, they're fine. But when you bring them down into an oil, they have to engineer that. You can't just crush them and get oil, right? So now you create this frankenfood, right? That causes inflammation, it causes cancer, it causes all kinds of diseases. So you have a problem with that. These franken meats are the same thing. And if you think they're saving the planet, think again. Most of this shit is put together in China. So when you put something together in China and you're selling it in the United States and in Europe, well, there's diesel involved. First, you have to get some product there. That's diesel. Then you need diesel to get it back.
Is it just the factories there are so much cheaper?
Yeah, they can produce at a fraction of the cost. So you're looking at the engineering, all of the CO2 that you're pumping out just to make this stuff. So you're not saving the planet. You're making the planet worse exponentially. And this isn't me talking. These are facts. I have experts in this movie up the yin yang from universities all over the world.
Don't forget about the combine, which I'd like to forget about.
I actually, you know, another vegan thing is that they say, well, we don't want to kill furry things.
Right.
In this movie, we're going to show combines chewing up everything from skunks to rabbits to squirrels to they're pulling out the only pieces of frogs that they could get out are the pieces that stay together.
Right.
Most of the frogs are, this is all in your bread, folks. This is in your Kellogg's cereal. This is in all of your stuff. There's dead animals in the food. So if you think you're being vegan and you're eating grains, think again.
When let's talk about the nefarious kind of big government part, because if I know these people, there's going to be mandates like coming down the road. You know, it's not enough that they go, here's a choice. They're going to start saying school lunches need to be 40% meatless substitute by 2025. And in California, we're going to go, we're already doing the meatless Mondays over here. I got to believe that this is coming as well.
It's not coming, it's here. If you look at the last election, and I don't talk politics, I don't care about politics, but I do monitor politics. So the right wasn't talking about this because, well, they were running Trump, right? So Trump was going to run on that side, but the left, they had their convention, and there was no shortage of people on the left saying we need Green New Deal, we need to get meat. And I mentioned this to a friend of mine who's a lefty, and he goes, Kamala Harris never said any such thing. It's like, oh, no. I don't think you understand. I have her in my movie saying we got to get meat out of schools. We got to make everything vegetarian. We have to do this now, right? Cory Booker, obviously, he's a vegan, so he was pushing that initiative. They were all pushing this meatless, we got to get meat out. The recommendations now for meat is a 1 inch by 1 inch cube per week. That's what they're saying is healthy on their side.
and AOC puts it up your ass with a blowgun. That's the slippery slope guy says that's where we're heading.
Well, I had to look something up really fast because when you said, about school lunches and stuff and, are we going to transfer away from meat? And I'm thinking, transfer away? When we used to have burgers at lunch that hardly resemble, like the little grayish, brownish kind of puck.
Ours were gray.
Yeah. And I thought, well, those we knew then those weren't burgers. I just Googled school lunch burger soy. And the first thing that came up, and I think they're linking NPR in here, it says and this is from 2012. So this was, this is not today or, 20 years ago. This is right in the middle. There are a lot of things in there besides beef, but once they're explained, it makes sense to me. I guess it's an op-ed. The water and soy flour are fillers that stretch the meat and make it affordable for school lunches. So water and soy flour in the burgers.
Goddamn, kids just keep getting fatter. Just, especially the poor kids that we're in charge of feeding. They just keep getting fatter.
I am so disgusted by what happened during the pandemic. I was yelling that kids are going to get fatter and fatter. We're doing the wrong thing. We got to get them out. We got to get them moving. It seems like every time I get in an airport now, I'm out at Atlanta. The past 4 trips I've been in Atlanta. People to me, because I'm looking at this, I'm always looking at this, are noticeably fatter. And not just anyone, kids are getting fatter and fatter. And they don't look like kids anymore. When I was a kid, there was a song called Like a Rock. I was strong and I was in it like a rock, right? We were all wiry and thin, and we all lived in the country, and that was great. Kids today don't look like the human beings we looked like 50 years ago. Not even close. If they had their shirts off, you would never see a rib cage, number one.
No.
Number two, they're making jeans where it almost looks like something from Aesop's Fables, where you see this big giant body with these little skinny legs and these. So they have no ass on them anymore because these kids aren't out playing and moving. They don't have legs on them. And their backs look like turtles because all they do is stay bunched over looking at a damn 2x4-inch piece of glass their entire life. And we're not moving in a good direction.
Well, I'm going to just give Chris a heads up because speaking of this, because we were talking about lamenting the fact that we could have used COVID as an excuse to start talking about obesity and childhood obesity and exercise. Instead, told everyone to stay home, order Grubhub, and we fucking welded bars over the fucking basketball hoops at the goddamn park. But there's a video that was going around a week and a half ago, and it was Fauci from 2019, and he was talking about exercise and working out and diet and stuff, all this shit. As soon as the pandemic hit, he shut the fuck up about all of that stuff. But it's insane. It's Fauci from literally just probably months before the pandemic began, just talking to a guy named David Rubenstein. And I don't know if we have that, but we can play that for you. And it sounds bizarre. He gets out of the gate by saying, don't bother with a mask.
And the best way for me to prevent getting an infectious disease and having to have you as my doctor is what? Wearing a mask?
No.
Don't need to do that. I can see they're ready to sneeze or cough, walk away.
You avoid all the paranoid aspects and do something positive. A, good diet. B, you don't smoke, I know. I know you don't drink, at least not very much, so that's pretty good. Get some exercise. I know that you don't get as much exercise as you should.
That's correct.
Get good sleep. I think that the normal, low-tech, healthy things are the best thing that you can do, David, is stay healthy.
All right.
Said no 3 times to a mask, and then said don't do any of the paranoid stuff. Just sleep and exercise, smoking, drinking, diet. Diet's first thing that came out of his mouth. What happened to the spry 77-and-a-half-year-old Fauci who was talking about diet as opposed to the 79-year-old Fauci who just gave it up, stopped talking about it immediately?
Yeah.
That's his opinion. By the way, if you'd like to know what Fauci's opinion is, that's his opinion.
Right.
Because that's his opinion in a non-wartime environment, not politicized, nobody yelling right or left. That's just him sitting down pre-pandemic, giving his 47 years of expertise on infectious disease. That's what he really thinks. Why that doesn't come out of his fucking mouth, I have no idea. But that's what he really thinks.
Well, and that's why I thought it was so odd that the campaign wasn't, we all feel out of control. Not we're all in this together. That I didn't get that. If it's take back the control. We all feel out of control. Here's something you can do to control whether or not you end up in the hospital, or at least put the odds in your favor.
Yeah,
but that campaign never happened.
No, I don't. I think there's something leading back to this decree that you cannot judge. And by doing what we're doing, you're sort of de facto judging fat people. And we've decided that's shaming and off the table.
Well,
but
also, Vinny knows, because I literally dumped it out in front of him, this free lunch, whatever, that the kids come home with. By the way, in Beverly Hills and in Fairfax and all over the place, it doesn't matter what neighborhood you're in, you get this if you're in public school. We call it the trash bag because it's, I guess, whatever company has extra crap. And it's like microwave pizzas, ho-hos, grape juice, and they just give it to each kid as they leave, whether they want it or not.
I know. Here, it's 2021. And by the way, I always circle back to it, but this seed oil is like you cannot escape seed oil.
It's
you
everywhere.
order a salad, you think you're being healthy, it's covered seed oil.
And all of the artichoke hearts and stuff, it's always packed in sunflower oil.
It's insane.
Yeah. I was stuck in bumfuck Ohio a couple of years ago. I was doing a talk, and I couldn't find a good restaurant. It was all TGI this and, Chili's that. But I saw a Red Lobster. I went, oh, at the very least, they're going to have a lobster in there. So I walked in and said, bring me a lobster. And I go, do you want fresh or frozen? I went, no, I want the biggest one in the tank. Get it over here. Steam it up. So they get it to the table. I get it with broccoli, and they bring the butter, the drawn butter. I eat my lobster. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm writhing in pain. I'm covered in arthritis, from sports. My neck, I need vertebrae. I need all kinds of shit. Everything is hurting. I'm inflamed. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, all I had was lobster. And butter. I actually got out of my bed at the hotel, went downstairs, got on the treadmill at 3 in the morning just to try to move so I can go back to sleep. And all I could think was, what did I eat? What did I eat? I mentioned it on Twitter, and someone went, oh, wait, I used to work for that company. That wasn't butter. That was a product called Whirl, WHIRL, which is an abomination. Pull it up, Gina. You don't even have to cook it. You don't have to, it can just stay on, you don't have to freeze it. You put it on the shelf. Mm-hmm. It's just an abomination of a seed oil. And I was soaking my broccoli in it. I bring me more butter. I'm like I'm drinking this stuff by the end of the meal. It almost killed me.
It's that much. Well, Gina, tell us what's in it if you can figure it out.
Well, I think it goes by canola now. I could be wrong. Rapeseed isn't a great name for anything. No. But it's basically rapeseed oil.
Yeah. Sad. There we are. It cannot be escaped anymore.
Caution.
It advertises the World Advantage. I want to know what the World Advantage is.
Well, first off,
you don't have to. Its shelf life is probably 300 years.
We have an obsession with adhesion. Like, we won't use an iron skillet. We'll use one that's made in China by Uyghurs. Is it Uyghurs? The whole point is it's something.
Mega, I assume.
There's
Brian,
something we have to do about a pancake that clings to the pan, and we've decided we don't care if we poison ourselves. No. We will spray as much shit onto that pan so we can flip it. It's always like easy. The muffins pop right out. The pancakes flip right over. The eggs toss themselves.
Whirl.
Yeah.
I wrote in my book 10 years ago that we started getting unhealthy when we started using Teflon. Those words are written in my book, Fitness Confidential. And you can make a lot of connections like that when we started getting unhealthy. But Teflon came along at the same time. Of course, TV dinners came along at that time and everything.
Did Teflon come around at the same time as Pam?
Pam was right there. Yeah, and then they started coming out with spray everything.
Anything non-stick, basically.
Yeah, I can, I'll say this. I got the olive oil spray, but I also just have a spray bottle for $4 that you just fill up with olive oil. It's magical.
Those are great.
It is a game changer.
From what I remember about you gentlemen, you are not only not a stranger to Linda Evangelista, but you were fans, yes, in the 90s.
Yeah.
She was one of the hottest,
arguably. Best eyes,
Oh,
right?
best eyebrows. Oh, she had that little come hither. I know. I have a
That's
little
what I was
secret.
looking at. Yeah,
right.
eyebrows.
She was
Yeah.
with Christy Turlington, with Naomi Campbell and Cindy Crawford, all the greats. Anyway, we all love her. She claims that she's been deformed, and that's why we haven't seen her in a few years. She said she was undergoing a cosmetic procedure, not surgery, but a procedure that might sound familiar to some people, 5 years ago, according to Fox News. She was, of course, best known for just being smoking hot, totally disappeared. And then she has now written on her Facebook page what happened. She says, to my followers who have wondered why I've not been working while my peers' careers have been thriving, the reason is that I was brutally disfigured by Zeltia's Coolsculpting procedure, which did the opposite of what it promised. Now, here's the thing. It's also known as
By the way,
body.
is anyone wondering why 57-year-old models aren't working?
Oh, where's she been?
Yeah, nobody wonders that.
Where's the George Michael video?
You
Oh, wait.
turned 37, and
You're
then
out.
that was that. Yeah.
Well, Pete, especially in LA, we've all heard of Coolsculpting. We have a picture of her. There is look at that
Oh, dear.
beauty in her day. So here's what she says happens. And apparently it really can happen. It's a non-surgical procedure. It's meant to take fat deposits and freeze them, and then it reduces them within the body, according to Healthline. But Evangelista claims she suffered a known but rare side effect that results in the opposite. Increased fat cells in the area where you're doing the procedure. Reportedly happens to men more than women and is found in less than 1% of total Coolsculpting cases. She did mention a lawsuit, but didn't offer any details on it. But it literally backfired.
Wow.
I have a question,
So pretty, though.
because I know a little bit about fat cells and what goes on. She's saying that the fat cells that they Coolsculpted, they got fatter?
That it had a reverse effect.
Because what happens to people when they have the, when they have the fat sucked out?
Lipo?
The lipo.
When that happens, you'll get fatter somewhere else because fat cells, we have all of the fat cells we're going to have by the time we reach puberty, right? So all of us have the capacity to have enough. If we max out all of our fat cells, we all have the capacity to stuff a couch. And we're seeing that with 600 and 800 pound people now, right? So if you take all of the fat cells from around your rib cage and your waist and everything else, whenever you start eating stuff that will cause you to get fat, you will just send those molecules into other cells. Our fat cells work like a bank account. Fat is going in and coming out every day. We don't gain and lose fat cells. We fill them or we empty them.
Yeah, they expand or contract.
Right. So if you remove some of them, they have to go. That's why you'll see a lot of people who, and her face was fat. So I'm not sure if this matters to her, but if you take them out of your ass, your hips, your midsection, it's got to go somewhere. It'll go to your face, your shoulders, the backs of
Then
your
why
arms.
do so many people do it?
Because they're idiots.
Well, remember what happened to
it's
Kathy
so-
Griffin?
I mean-
it was botched. Her lipo was totally botched.
Oh,
Remember that?
No, but
you don't wanna see
maybe, but I don't know.
You do not want to see it.
Look, no free lunches, everybody. Get some exercise. Don't eat Impossible Burgers.
Don't eat free lunches.
Yeah,
That's true.
good point. No free lunches, right?
Yeah.
No, and also you got to age at some point.
Well, and it's been explained, at least on these, layman YouTube stuff for the rest of us, that, like you said, each cell, you think of like a balloon, a water balloon. And when you start going keto, instead of fat, it goes, we know they're going to get fat again. Let's put water in it. Let's keep it this size because we know they're going to bounce back. But when you keep starving it, the balloon pops. And that's kind of again, layman for us understanding how that works.
And I'll tell you this, and women will understand this more than guys. Every woman has her skinny jeans, the ones that fit when she's feeling skinny.
Wearing
and
them.
every woman has
All
their
right.
FME pumps that they wear, and they'll put the FME pumps in the skinny jeans and go out with the girlfriends, and they'll get that first margarita, right?
Party.
3 sips into the margarita, and they'll say, what the hell just happened? I have muffin top, my jeans are tight. Guys don't get this because guys put on their eating clothes, right?
That's right.
Stretching.
I've been in the get weight off of women business for 40 years. They'll go, well, what is
Why
that?
don't you just roll over?
Exactly.
You really want to get the weight off? I got 170 pounds of guinea I could lose, but if you just fucking roll over and blow a butt.
But what's happening to them is as soon as the brain gets fat, it tells the fat cells to start hanging on to water right away.
Right.
And they feel instant that their fuck me pumps become tight, their pants become tight. I know you've had that before because it happens to every woman
Very familiar.
when they go out for free drinks or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, you know, it's interesting. I wrote about this in my book somewhere, one of them, but
Rolling
it's
over?
like the sweatsuit, like the velour sweatsuits, it's the sort of bouncer who just looks like he's 600 pounds, or the record producer, something who's constantly wearing the big
Yep.
sweatsuit. Back in the day, when folks put a suit on to fly, put a suit on to go to the ballpark, put a suit on to go to work, you think about it. Gina's wedding's coming up. We got you'll be putting a suit on. We got to bring back the inner button flap that there's no reason for that.
Those
for that
suits
extra
tell no
button, except for to
tales.
let you know
Yes.
you put on
Yeah.
a few
Stretch
pounds.
it.
You literally have to take your fingers and shove them inside of
Yes.
your waist and try to get that one hooked up. And when you do that, you have that thought of like, oh boy, I got to take
Yeah,
it
it's
easy
a
on
marker of
the
time.
whatever.
Yeah.
Jump in the sweatpants, jump in the trunks, whatever.
You
the
don't
elastic,
notice.
you just don't. Literally, you don't feel that pinch. And how big a difference would it make if everyone got into a suit and went to work every day?
Regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It never runs away from you. It can't get that far down the road because you may party pretty good on the weekend, and then come Monday, it's time
luck.
to get those
I
slacks
blame
and get that.
Sansa belt.
That's right,
I
Sansa belt
blame-
slacks.
Yeah, they came out and said, do you even know what
No,
we're talking
what
about?
is that?
Sans a belt.
It was no.
Oh, I don't know.
It
Is
had-
that Sans?
I mean,
It was
Like
dress
minus
pants.
Right.
save the belt?
let's
Yeah,
see.
but you wore a belt around it anyway as an accessory. But it was like a big. It expanded at the waist.
Really?
Right, so
was
you
it
just-
was it like what's the word, like a spandex or
No.
like,
It was kind of like
I think Sans belt slacks. Now, I can only go off of what I've seen on game shows because my dad didn't purchase
Sure, of course.
slacks, and I certainly didn't own any. But I think
chicken
I think
slacks.
they buttoned up by having a flap that extended
Okay.
like to the right
Extendo
3 or
flap.
4
On both
inches.
Yes,
sides,
you're
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And hooked
Got it.
around, right?
Yeah.
That's I would say Sansa slacks. Some of the game shows, there were like sponsors and stuff,
Sure.
and was always like a Bob Barker wardrobe by Botany 500. That was the other one, Botany 500.
Can I say this? Flying in yesterday, I feel like a comedian talking about my flight twice now. I think I'm the only guy that had a belt on, a button-down shirt, and actual real pants on, and real shoes.
People probably thought you were the pilot.
I thought you were an air marshal.
Yeah, they must have looked at me. I was like, wait a minute. I think I'm the only guy with a belt.
Yeah.
I'm the only with the
what are you
button-down
doing here,
shirt.
narc?
Yeah, I felt like a total square, as we used to say when I was a kid. It's like,
I was talking about it on stage last night, but I've probably mentioned it on stage before. But when I go through LAX frequently through the Delta terminal at 6:30, 7:15, like early morning, big LAX Delta terminal flights. You walk through there, people are wearing like surgical scrubs and cut off sweats and big billowy ponchos and stuff. I mean, I said, and I mean it because I've seen this a couple times. I said, you go to a hotel, a big hotel, someone pulls the fire alarm at 4 a.m., file down to the lobby. That's how people are dressed at LAX. Like they literally look like it's the shit they slept in. It's the biggest, billowiest. There's not peg leg or even a Sansa belt in the fucking mix. And then the other thing that you'd probably hate, which is I marveled at it. I don't know if I told you, Chris, but I actually took a picture of it. You don't have to find it, but there's a Jersey Mike's that's right at the end toward the Delta end of the terminal. 7:14 in the morning, the line at
boy.
Jersey Mike's
What do you get there?
had
Sandwiches.
55 people in it.
breakfast
Like
sandwiches?
no, they're going hoagie, but
Really?
they're to be fair to them,
They may be coming from.
it may be 7:10 in the morning. They're going to eat it at 9
Yeah.
when they're on the flight.
Sure, okay.
But I mean, 55 people.
Wow.
I mean, Jersey Mike's just a line just going around the airport at, again, 7 a.m. So
I
you
felt
mix
like,
that in with the sweatpants with the unlimited elastic, and that's what we got, a recipe.
It's like they're at home. I was the only guy, I think, getting on the plane that didn't have a pizza box or a hoagie or something in my hand at all, period.
I think since we're mandating all these things, we have to start saying you cannot bring hot food on a plane. The smell is either it's really good or really bad.
It
yeah,
was not.
I'm the same way.
It's like, come on, guys, just eat this crap and get on the plane. But then if they ate it and they're farting on the plane, it's a problem. Either way, it's a problem.
Well, Adam, remind him of your rookie cop bulletproof vest.
Oh.
This will keep everyone trim.
Well, look, everyone's getting fat. Cops are getting fat. You know, you turn on the news. There's not, the story isn't about them being fat. It's they're investigating the crime scene. They're fucking huge. So, by the way, once they get behind the desk, they really blow up because all those 48 hours crime scene, whatever, when they interview those guys, they got heads the size of a pumpkin. But here's the deal. Your rookie year, 23, 24, right out of the academy, whatever, you are issued a bulletproof vest. That is your vest. It's a medium. That's it.
You'll retire with that vest.
You want to balloon up to 300 pounds? Fine. It's your fat ass that's going to be hanging outside that vest. It's going to get its shot. But that's it. This is your vest. We're not going to add a leaf to it.
Gina, close your ears for a second.
Okay.
I've said the same thing about marriage.
Oh, I got my wedding dress there.
Yeah, same thing.
Gina, you know my deal, right?
I
What are
do.
the two things you can't do after you get married,
Get
according
fat
to me?
and cut your hair.
Thank you.
That's right.
It's not a license to go chop your hair off.
I was going to get a
And
curly
get fat.
cut. Okay.
Okay, you look awesome right now.
Thank
Keep
you.
it going.
Okay.
That's right.
All right.
Jesus Christ.
Well, let's move on to another hot lady. Maybe a decade before Linda Evangelista, decade and a half, 2 decades.
Vinny,
I'm talking,
I feel
yes.
like somewhere there may be some kids on your lawn, and I don't know if you've put someone in charge of taking the hose and
Yeah.
yelling at them.
You got to
but
pump the shotgun.
who's keeping that flame
Can I tell you
torch
something?
alive?
I in the past week, I've killed 2 copperheads.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one was in my backyard. I did it with a shotgun. I got his head moving at 1,200 feet per second. And then the second one, I'm taking my dog out the front to go for a walk. My dog walks right up on another copperhead. So now I got the dilemma. Do I walk back in and get the shotgun? Or do... So
Hand-to-hand combat.
I went to my neighbor and I said, hold my dog, hand me a shovel. So I went over
I love that song.
and did it with the shovel.
Yeah, it's a great country song.
I'm teaching all the kids in the neighborhood how to use guns. I'm teaching them how to do...
Jesus.
Why not? I'm teaching them
responsibly.
I'm teaching them archery.
Yeah.
They come in the backyard.
It's like taking on liability that I wouldn't want to take on.
I asked their parents, like they all come over to swim. That's a danger.
That's
I don't
true.
use my pool.
Yeah.
I got the only pool in the neighborhood. I feel like an asshole. I got to put the stuff in. I got to get the guy over. I got to unwinterize. I got to winterize. I got to do all this stuff. I don't even swim in that kind of pool. I go down to the Y and go in the pool where I can do some laps. Right? I would be turning every third stroke in my own pool. So I told all the neighborhood kids, I went around and said, listen, you get a parent over here, you guys can, you have my backyard. The last thing I want them to get is bitten by a copperhead in my backyard. So I'm protecting the neighborhood.
Wow.
Good for you.
Boy, I got to tell you, I do like the variety in my personal life because when I was at Jimmy's daughter's wedding just last weekend, I was sitting down talking with we'll call her a family friend, and she was saying, I haven't seen you since the kid's birthday party. And I said, oh, yeah, when was that? And she said, well, another friend, family member, came over to the house and was explaining to Sonny, showing Sonny how to break down a pistol, how to like, take it apart and oil it and put it back together and everything. And she said, it was unloaded, obviously, but I had to leave.
Oh, she had to leave?
She had to leave. I said, by the way, it's weird when people are cowards and insane and they sort of brag about it. Like I had, she told me the story
couldn't be
twice. She told me
around
she
the gun?
couldn't be around it. And I was like, well, it's in the house. This person's trained and they're showing them how to do this unlocked thing, unloaded thing. It's a sort of practical.
No, there's nothing in
and
it.
she's like, I left.
Oh boy.
I was like, all right. But
Gotta
it's
get
good to
Uncle
have
Vinny
Vinny
over.
balance
Yeah.
it out with literally hunting game in his own backyard.
Hunting children.
Yeah, there's some deer in my backyard too, but I
Not
think it's
anymore.
illegal. I think it's
right.
illegal. It's not even the season yet. Mm-hmm. But
Are you going
yeah.
to get the tags or whatever?
Yeah, you got. Yeah, I'm not an animal.
But I mean, are
either.
you into it? Are you going to do
Yeah,
it?
I grew up hunting. I grew
know.
up hunting and fishing and everything, and I believe in conservation. People don't realize Ducks Unlimited have done more to help ducks than anything else. In conservation, I don't think people realize how much hunters help conservation. I mean, now you can't shoot lead over water because now you have lead in the water.
Oh, sure.
Right.
So it's all steel shot. England has gone to that too.
Wow.
I'm going to be hunting in England in January. They call it shooting there.
I
but-
would so love for you to be really good friends with the Motor City Madman and help run his camps in the summer.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
I know you would.
I mean, I love that guy. By the way, Adam, you would remember this. Maybe Dawson would remember it too. Remember when he used to do his stage shows back in the 70s? He had the loincloth, and he
You
would
liked him because
his guitar.
Bullshit.
he would shoot the arrow on stage, right, Dawson?
Oh, he'd be in
Didn't
a
he shoot his guitar too? at
he'd
times?
be in a loincloth.
Yeah.
Swinging back and forth like Tarzan.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that?
It was amazing. He was in great
was
shape
crazy.
too.
All right. What else we
Okay,
got, Gina
so
Graham?
another lovely lady from the past, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, Cassandra Peterson. She now has a new memoir, and boy, the revelations are aplenty.
She must have fucked everybody.
Well, I think that's part of it. It's called Yours Cruelly, Elvira, Memoirs of the Mistress of the Dark. So I'm going to give you two of her revelations. One is that late NBA star Wilt Chamberlain allegedly sexually assaulted her. She said in an excerpt obtained by Daily Mail, Peterson said that he was 7'1", about 300 pounds, would wrap his hand around her neck and force her to give him oral. And she thinks that big count of him sleeping with all these ladies, maybe not as consensual given her experience. She also said sexually, she claims she bit the lip of Andy Williams when he tried to kiss her without consent. And another time she went to the hospital after sustaining injury while having sex with Tom Jones.
Wow. What's up, Pussy Snatch?
That's right.
It's not unusual. It's not unusual.
Well done. She's a lady.
She was a groundling.
What?
I'm pretty
Was
sure
that, did
Cassandra.
that character come out of the Groundlings?
I probably did. Yeah, it was like a Pee Wee,
love
like Pee Wee
that.
Herman.
That makes sense.
Came out
I
of the groundlings.
love that. Well, I do remember her movie fondly, Mistress of the Dark, but also she's not into the menfolk anymore. Her other revelation is
After
that
experience the wilt.
she's been in a relationship for 19 years with a woman she met at Gold's Gym in Hollywood. She said she was attracted to the trainer's dark and brooding looks, didn't realize she was a woman until they, I guess, met in the bathroom or something. And she's just maybe a more of a masculine woman, and they've been together for almost 20 years.
Well, I hope I don't go down that path where I don't realize someone's sex until we
Unless it's
actually
a pleasant surprise.
consummate it. Yeah. She's part of the Groundlings in 1979.
I love that.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that was sort of common
I don't
knowledge,
know.
but she
I never thought
slid
about
by.
it.
Pee Wee Herman gets all the
Right.
fuss, but she was
Sure.
there.
That's great.
Probably
So cool.
pre
Same-ish
Pee Wee,
time.
same-ish time. Yeah.
I love that. Thank
Hey,
you.
As long as we're talking about beautiful women, Vinny's in the studio, for God's sake. We'd be remiss. Your wedding, Gina, is coming up in just a few days. By the time people hear this, it'll be on our doorstep. You're looking great, if I may
Thank
say
you.
so. I know Vinny has been helping you. Can we talk a little bit about the routine and what's been going on?
Yeah,
'Cause you're looking good.
Thank you. Stop fucking around a lot. Seriously, my skin, because when I eat gluten and I'm eating all that stuff, my skin gets really dry. I have eczema all over me, and then I have to deal with creams and stuff for that. Nothing. Clear as a bell, just meat and vegetables. I personally, being a JE dub, I can't do dairy. I can't lose weight on it. It fucks up my stomach. And Vinny pointed that out to me a long time ago, and I chose not to listen because I love dairy.
Yeah.
But it really makes a big difference. Vegetables and meat, and I've been doing it since April, and I've lost 22 pounds. And I know it might not look like it, but things fit differently. My face feels different. When I'm putting on a lot of weight, I never knew this, but this might sound insane, but the only way I can really tell is out of the corner of my eyes, I can see the top of my cheeks, if that makes any sense. And I can't right now. So I'm very happy about that. So I really got honest with myself. I wasn't cheating. I wasn't negotiating every meal. Well, this won't be a thing. And walk every day because I like to get out of the house anymore. 3 to 6 miles and just kind of, just keep
3 to
keep
6 every day.
I like it because in my neighborhood, it's very, once you cross the street, it's gorgeous and utopia, not on my side. But I'll either do it once or twice. That's 3 or 6 miles. And I feel great afterwards. And the more I exercise, the less hungry I am. And I don't know if that's a normal thing, but I don't really feel like eating a lot of dinner after I'm sweaty and come home. I'm good. Also, I do not.
I think there's also an element of not wanting to take a shit after you get out of the shower. Which is to say, when you are doing pretty good, you're exercising and stuff, you don't want to undo it.
No, you're right.
You have that, it's kind of partially emotional.
I think you're right, but we eat early now.
Shit in the shower. Go ahead.
Exactly. We eat early because I'm done eating all my meals by 6:30 in the evening, and I brush my teeth, and no more snacking, no more food throughout the night. I'm good. But Andy prefers to eat dinner and then go run, sit for a few minutes and then run. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. He prefers to do a marathon run, come home, eat a big dinner. I want to eat dinner, go on my walk, come home, and relax. So I've just been tightening everything up and just being more honest with myself.
That's very Italian of you, because Italians do it. They eat and then they go for the big walk.
Yeah, it's been lovely.
My great-grandparents, they all used to do it. That's how I got into it.
And a big thing, I have, I love my Facebook groups, my kitten rescues and my curly and wavy hair and all that shit. I got out of all of the weight loss groups because that was actually making things harder.
Interesting.
Because all these bitches are like, you guys, is 35 pounds good for a week and a half? I don't know. And I don't lose that fast. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's clickbait. And all these, women being yeah, is 14 pounds good by a Wednesday to a Sunday? I've lost about 22 pounds since April 1st, and that is as fast as I can lose it, as fast as I'm willing to lose it.
I'm starting to hate the term keto as much as I hate the term vegan.
I get it.
Because they've turned keto into that. That's why I've never been able to sell NSNG. I've been offered a lot of money.
Because it's going to happen.
7 figures for my brand. And I refuse to let anyone take it because they'll take it and bastardize it.
Yeah.
Do you weigh yourself how often?
Vinny's here, not often. Maybe
too
once
often. I don't want her to weigh herself, but she weighs herself.
I don't do it every day anymore. I'll do it a couple times a week.
Well, but how would you know you're 22 pounds down, or does it matter?
Also, I have
Vinny, is it just do it and you look better and
look in the
cares?
mirror?
Yeah.
Look at the belt loops.
Well, also,
if you wear a belt in this world,
I have a tape measure, and so I can see where I'm losing and stuff. The thing is, I really didn't think I was losing in my stomach at all because that's where my body has decided the weight gets to live for the rest of my life. But I've lost a little. No loss in my boobs.
Yeah.
Thank God.
No. Stop clapping, Dawson. I thought at least everything will kind of streamline. No.
Finally, a diet that works.
And I told you guys the other day, much to your chagrin, neither of you wanted to help or answer, but I asked, how much do you think one of my boobs weighs? Because I don't think boob weight... Yes?
Oh, Vinny, easy.
Vinny knows.
I told Andy,
Andy
at home, we have 2 pound, 3 pound, 5 pound, 10, 20, all the weights. Hold one and hold my boob and see if it's the same, because that weight should not count towards scale weight.
Daddy?
That's not fair.
Gina, you're going to go back on the weight loss site and go, why is it my waist is so small and my tits are twice as big?
Brian?
Yeah, see, they're going to hate that. Hey, I feel the same way about my nutsack. Why we got to factor in my prodigious nutsack? It's not fair.
You shouldn't have to.
It's
is what
unfair.
I'm saying. It's un-American.
If I were 80 years old and overweight and diabetic and hadn't had COVID already, I'd be like, yep, straight up, this makes sense. But if you're 18 and in fantastic shape, let alone have already had it and recovered and got the antibodies, then it's a whole different equation. And I just honestly wish people could chill out a moment and just respect that, as we always did.